Hey, I'm Tobias. Welcome. I'm going to be sharing with you guys my top 10 favorite sci-fi fantasy books. These are the ones that I thought were most compelling, well written. I tend to go toward the more adult sci-fi fantasy. That'll probably give you a little insight on my list. Here we go. We have Andy Weir, Project Hail Mary. Such a thrilling ride. Uh, Great storytelling, well written. I thought that the science and the astrophysics of this book just really shined. I think you call it hard science. The main character wakes up in a spaceship. He doesn't really know what's going on because he's been in a medically induced coma and has amnesia. But he's a scientist and he figures out that he's on this project to save the world, and that kind of sets the stage. I really enjoyed the story. As we get along, I do think that for me, the reason that's a little bit lower on the list for me is I would have liked the tone to be more serious, considering the gravity and the direness of the situation. But it did really work. It was super good, especially if you want a great sci-fi that's not super out there, and you really love just the science and the physics. Oh, this one will really do it for you. Okay, moving on. We have The Night Circus by Aaron Morgenstern. Such a whimsical, magical story of this night circus that's created by these dueling magicians. The world that you go into is so descriptive. The imagery and the vividness of it is what really makes this shine. I didn't really think I'd be drawn to a book like this. But man, it is so well written. It's got beautiful prose. It's got a little romance. It really shines. The complexity of the story is something that you really have to follow. But it really propels the story and makes it so good. If you just want like a magical, amazing story that you can get immersed in, and it's a standalone, this is the one that you want to look for. Okay, moving on. We have Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings. This is one of the most immersive world-building stories. You have the world of Roshar. The world in here is so fascinating because of the weather system. There's these frequent hurricanes that happen all the time. So the whole ecosystem and nature and organisms are so unique and different and unusual. The base of the story is there's an assassination, and that kind of sets off a war. And the main characters, one of the main characters, my favorite one, is Kaladin. I think a lot of people love Kaladin. His story arc is awesome. For how long this is, it's a really well worth it. The payoff at the end, it just works. The one thing I would say about this book is considering that the length of it. I'm starting to read the second book, Words of Radiance. It's called the Stormlight Archive. All the books together. Since they are so long, and I think there's 5 books, it is awesome. But is it so good that I'm gonna read 5 books that are all this long? We'll just have to see. Anyways, moving on, we have Terry Miles' Rabbits, a thrilling psychological thriller. It's about a video game that's more than a game. It deals with obviously video games, but hacking and quantum physics. It gets really enveloped. The main character and this other girl, that they go on this journey And the further they get into the game, the more dangerous it becomes and the more exciting, and it really pushes the story and makes you want to know what's happening. It gets so intense that it deals with the government and billionaires, and oh man, it is, yeah. I would say that's kind of like a Ready Player One, but a little bit more adult. Not completely like that, but it just has a little bit of that vibe. So this has a second book that I haven't checked out, but this as a standalone worked really well for me. So I was very satisfied. Check out Rabbits. Moving on. We have Haruki Murakami, Hard-Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World. Based on the title, you kind of have two different worlds. The Hard-Boiled Wonderland is this super bizarre, quirky world where the main character has this mental capacity to take information or data from one side of his brain to the other, shuffle it around and create this encrypted code. And he gets hired by this weird scientist that's in this like sewer underground in Tokyo. And the scientist is working on this sound experiment. And then that attracts the government and bad guys. Yeah, it gets weird. Very sci-fi, but it works. And Murakami's writing's so good that that works. But then you also have the End of the World, which is the other side of the story, which is this dreamy, like conscious altered state, like world, which goes into where this dream reader, he has to give up his shadow and go into this world. And the whole beauty of the book is that all of a sudden these worlds get like intertwined, and you realize that, is it reality or a dream? Do they mix? There's, a lot of concepts about consciousness and how the mind works. There's a lot of concepts about memory and time, or outside of time. It's very mind-bending, but it's as confusing as it seems. Murakami just makes it work. The storytelling's amazing. The writing's amazing. It's just, Murakami is just such a master storyteller. So read this one. Next one, we have The Blade Itself, Joe Abercrombie. This is like a brutal, violent, but some of the best drama. The storytelling's so good. The characters are so unusual. They have so much personality. They're so unique. And that, it's embedded in this political drama. There's war that starts happening. One of the main characters, Logan, he's this warrior type that meets a magician, and they kind of go on this adventure. And then on the other side of the story, this is in the first book, you meet another cast of characters. You get this like kind of prestigious prince-like guy that's kind of going on his whole story. And then this other very unique character who's been, he's just gone through the ringer because he went through a whole bunch of war and crazy stuff, and now he works for the government, like torturing people. It gives you a little insight of all these crazy characters. But when they come together, their chemistry together, and their story arcs, it just really, really works. It's very grounded in reality. There is magic in here, but it's not too outlandish or too crazy. The book was so well written that I read the second one. The series is called the First Law Trilogy. I can't wait to read the third one. It was both of them were so good. I can't wait. That was The Blade Itself. Okay, next one. Michael Crichton, Jurassic Park, one of the best sci-fis of all time. Most people are very familiar with the story of genetically getting the DNA of dinosaurs and creating dinosaurs for human amusement. I thought the book really shined when it came to the science, the biotech, and financial backing. I thought the book was far more intricate in that realm, and that really propelled the story. It still had, great action and, the thriller concept of dinosaurs. But I think the movie was missing a little bit of the science and the biotech stuff, which I thought was awesome in this one. It's, and it really flows. I read this so fast, and I was very surprised at that. And I was surprised at how good this was, considering that I'd seen the movie so many times. So awesome. Next book, Ready Player One. We have a dystopian society where everybody's on VR and they're kind of lost in this world of the Oasis, which is this extensive world of alternate or virtual reality. The main character just has such a optimistic, hopeful view of what the potential is for the Oasis. And he's so immersed in it. He's so immersed in the video game aspect and the creator. And then he goes on this journey, and the bad guy, or the IOI, like the industry component, just works so well. It's so entertaining, so fun. There's a lot of funny components, great pop culture and 80s references. Check out Ready Player One. I thought the movie was much different, but I really enjoyed the movie too. So, Ready Player One. All right, next book. We have The Winter King. Oh man, this fantasy, or for me, it was a fantasy. The King Arthur story really sets the foundation for the Knight's Tale and Arthur and the magical system within that. This is a retelling of King Arthur. Bernard Cornwell, this is top notch, the best writing out of all these books by far. There's so much wisdom, some of the best prose. Oh man. The character is this up and coming knight, so it's from his perspective, and him seeing King Arthur and him being kind of mentored by King Arthur. His perspective later on when he meets Lancelot. Oh, so good. There's war, there's action, there's love. Oh, it is so good in so many ways. I can't recommend this enough, and I can't wait to read the next two books. Yes. Last book, we have Hyperion by Dan Simmons, the best sci-fi book of all time, in my opinion. Hyperion is this mysterious planet that is kind of the pinnacle of this intergalactic war. The book is really about a cast of characters that are on the spaceship to Hyperion. And all these characters in the first book are telling their story. And their stories are so good in so many ways. And the way that they intertwine and the way that they relate to Hyperion, oh man, you have a priest, a poet, a professor, a soldier, a detective. The priest and the stuff about theology and religion, it is so wild, and the way that it intertwines with sci-fi, it is just so good. The professor story deals with parenting, but also like time shifts, and it gets all emotional, which was surprising for me. And then eventually you get, I really enjoyed the detective story because there's a lot of action all of a sudden. You just get the whole gambit of different components that are so entertaining. The book is so well written, and the sci-fi stuff is just top notch. I loved it. I loved the second one, The Fall of Hyperion. The second one just gets even more into it, more character development. The story just gets more and more intense. And then I'm about to read the third one in Diamant, and then there's a fourth one. There's four. I'm looking forward to reading all four because they're so good. By far, the top. What I would recommend is Hyperion for sure. All right, that's top 10. Let me know what you guys thought. I'm pretty new in this whole sci-fi fantasy reading journey of mine, so comment down below and give me some recommendations, and let me know what you guys thought about my my top 10. All right, peace.